what's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and we got a fun show for you guys planned today. We're going to be looking at 5 quarterbacks that could start for the Minnesota Vikings, not named Kirk Cousins, this upcoming season. Looking at 5 dudes besides Caleb Williams and also Drake May that the Vikings could potentially go out and land in the draft that could end up starting week 1 for the purple and gold. But guys, we are in a David versus Goliath sub battle right now. We are taking on one of our biggest channels here at Chat Sports, the Raiders Report. They got over 156,000 subscribers, and we only got 19,000. I'm not saying we can catch them before Sunday, but let's close that gap a little bit. If you want to stay up to date on all Vikings news and rumors, hit that sub button. Lock us in as your go-to Minnesota Vikings YouTube channel. But first things first, I just want to get this off my chest. The Vikings can draft a quarterback, but it doesn't mean they can't bring back Kirk Cousins. Like, I do think Kirk could still be a bridge guy because, listen, obviously he's coming off that torn Achilles, and, it's up in the air if he'll be ready for week 1. Obviously, we'll have to, get some more information about that before we, make a statement. But I still think Kirk, there's a possibility they bring him back for maybe a 1-year deal, $30 million fully guaranteed, and say, hey, you're still the quarterback for this next season, but we are going to draft a guy to be your successor, and then that guy becomes the franchise quarterback. So I still think that is a possibility. Vikings can still bring back Kirk and draft a quarterback. Let's talk about it. Potential starting QBs for the Minnesota Vikings. Got to start off with number 1 here, JJ McCarthy, QB for the Michigan Wolverines, who, listen, the dude hasn't lost a Big Ten game in his entire career starting in college. And I understand his draft value has kind of, slumped a little bit over the past couple of weeks, with obviously him not playing as good a football as he was when he started the season. But JJ's a hell of a quarterback. He's extremely accurate. Does he have like that big time potential? Probably not. Like, he doesn't have the highest ceiling, but I do really think he has a low floor. His stats this year, he's completing 74% of his passes, and I really do think he's a quarterback where it's like if he's in that Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell style of offense where it's just get the ball out, get it out on time and accurately, JJ can run that offense, so I wouldn't hate him at all for the Minnesota Vikings. And this does seem extremely likely. Any mock draft that I've seen where the Vikings do take a quarterback in kind of that 16-24 range, which they've been fluctuating around past couple weeks, it's been JJ. And I want to be upset about it all. I think this is the pick for the Vikings. If I had to call it right now, if they do draft a quarterback in the first round, who are they taking? I'm saying they're taking JJ McCarthy out of Michigan. Let's go to number 2 here, Bo Nix. Interesting guy right now. Listen, Bo Nix, he obviously just lost in the Pac-12 championship to a guy who we'll get into here in a second, in Michael Penix. But Bo Nix, man, the numbers are absolutely unreal. 44 total touchdowns this year, a 77 completion percentage, absolutely ridiculous, throwing over 4,100 yards. And if you look at these numbers on screen right now, you're saying, whoa, this guy is a no-doubt first-round pick. I'm taking him 100%. Well, the thing is, he's been in for college, it feels, about 10 years, and, he doesn't really pop off the screen. So he is a tough guy to evaluate, in my opinion, because the numbers, they really, they speak to really how good he is. But then again, like the eye test, he just doesn't jump off the screen anytime I watch Oregon football. So if I had to pick a quarterback between JJ and Bo Nix, you guys obviously know I'm going with JJ McCarthy. Fun fact, me and him actually went to the same high school together, so I'm obviously a little biased towards the kid, but pick a QB for me. Type JJ for JJ McCarthy. Type BN for Bo Nix if you take the quarterback out of Oregon. Let's get to number 3 here, Michael Penix Jr. I'm just a big fan of this guy. Maybe it's because he's already wearing the purple in college. I just think he would look good in the purple for the Minnesota Vikings. But, man, this dude, he's had an unreal year in Washington, man. He's been absolutely balling out. The thing is with Michael Penix, every single week, it feels like Washington has been disrespected by the bookmakers out west. No matter who it is, it feels like he has been disrespected. Well, the dude's put up unreal numbers, and he's just continued to win football games. I like his intangibles. I just feel like he's a really, really strong leader in that locker room. Really seems like the guys have rallied around him. And listen, he's went through adversity already in his college career. He was hurt 2 seasons at Indiana. He's kind of had to, fight back and bounce back, and he found a home in Washington and really made a name for himself. He's a lefty. He can absolutely sling this ball. Yes, he is throwing to 2 potential first-round receivers at Washington right now, but I like what he is about. I like his intangibles. I like his guts. I like his mojo. And I think he could really be a guy where it's kind of like that Jalen Hurts factor that he has with the Eagles, where it's the guys in the locker room, they look at him and they're like, I want to go play for that guy. I think Penix has that kind of has that leadership quality to him that's obviously you need for a franchise quarterback in the NFL. I like how he talks behind the podium as well. Overall, big fan of Penix, and if the Vikings took him, I would be absolutely thrilled. We got two more names coming here in a second. We'll also touch on Jaren Hall at the tail end of today's show, but I do want to give a huge shout out to PrizePicks, today's sponsor of Vikings Now. If you guys head to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS, you get a first deposit match up to $100. It's daily fantasy made easy. It's really simple how you play. You pick two or more players. You're going to choose more or less on some projected stat types. You guys can start seeing the cash roll in today. This is the lineup I'm rolling with for this week's upcoming games. I'm going more on Bryce Young passing yards. New coach in there. I think we'll give him a little extra boost. Matthew Stafford. Rams are on a 3-game win streak. I'm going to ride the hot hand there, going more on his passing yards, then more on Drake London receiving yards, and more on Javonte Williams rushing yards as well. If you guys want to ride with my picks, or you guys can fade my picks, make sure you do it at PrizePicks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, and use that code CLNS, and you get a first deposit match up to $100. Make sure you guys do get hooked up today. Link for that in the comment section and description of today's show. Number 4. The most interesting prospect, in my opinion, it's Jayden Daniels. And I do want to say this before we dive into everything around him. I don't think he will be available in that 15 to 25 range. I think once the combine comes out and he gets behind the podium, he starts interviewing with a lot of these GMs, I think he's going to wind up being a top 10 pick because the talent just jumps off the screen. And this year at LSU, he's been absolutely hooping, man. I mean, a 72% completion percentage, going over 3,800 yards, and the freaking touchdown to interception ratio is ridiculous. But he has that dual threat ability. He's already ran for over 1,100 yards this year with 10 touchdowns on the ground. Love what Jayden Daniels has done so far in his LSU career, and we see the improvement from year to year, from his 2022 season where he was still a good quarterback, but he really hit the ground running this year, and he's turned himself into a Heisman favorite. So I'm a big fan of Jayden Daniels. Obviously, a little bit like Lamar Jackson, where it's just like a guy like that, where it's like the talent doesn't lie. I'd want to draft him 100%, but overall, there are a lot of good quarterbacks in this year's draft. And, Jayden Daniels, maybe the Vikes would have to trade up for him, but hey, that's another guy. Keep him in the purple and gold. Bring him to Minnesota. That would be a ton of fun. Could you imagine Jayden Daniels to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison? Gives me chills just thinking about it. But number 5 for me, this could be a second or a third round pick. Quinn Ewers, the quarterback out of Texas. Listen, he was a 5-star coming out of high school, extremely highly touted prospect. But the thing is with Quinn Ewers is it's just like the same thing kind of with JJ, but to a lesser extreme. Like, how high is his ceiling? Like, how good can he really be? Can he be a franchise quarterback? Can he be a Super Bowl winning quarterback? I guess we'll find out a little bit more in the college football playoff, but he's a sneaky guy. 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. I would love to take him there. Again, I just don't know if he's the first-round guy at all at this point. But these are 5 guys that I think could be drafted for the Vikes this year, and they could be starting week 1 next season for Minnesota. But my overall take with Jaren Hall, I do want to end today's show with this. If the Vikings roll with Jaren Hall, and there's a huge crowd on Twitter and just Vikings fans everywhere that are saying, oh, Jaren Hall, let's find out what we have with him. He can be QB1. If he is your QB1 next season, this would probably mean Josh Dobbs, he gets benched or whatever, and he leads you to the playoffs this year. But overall, I think there will be issues. If Jaren Hall is your QB1, I want to go a different route. I want to spend a high draft pick on a guy, spend a 1st or a 2nd rounder. I like Jaren Hall. Obviously, he's barely played this season, so we don't really have, a full take I could give on him so far. But I don't know. If Jaren Hall is your QB1 next season, you're probably not going to win a ton of games. But we'll get you guys involved in the comments section right now. Who would be QB1 for the Vikings next season? If I had to call it right now, week 1, probably still Kirk Cousins, but I don't know. Maybe they draft a guy, but I'd probably go Kirk. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. As always, you guys can give me a follow on Twitter. That's the handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Link for that in the comment section and description of today's show. See you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Skol Vikes.